Welcome to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast with your host, Brandon Seigel. I'm a published author, speaker, entrepreneur, and private practice strategist dedicated to transforming the way that healthcare functions. This podcast is all about empowering you to create the change you want to see. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. This episode is all about drawing up your digital marketing approach. Now, I think it's really critical that we understand that digital marketing can be incredibly rewarding, but you need to understand the methodology of what it is, what are the different components, how to define what aspect of digital marketing is right for you, and where, when, why, and what are you going to use it to accomplish. So I want to throw this equation on its side for a moment. I want to flip the script on you. You ready? When I ask you your ideal target for your digital marketing approach, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? I'm going to guess that it is my patient, and it's going to be what I'm going to call as patient-driven approach. And that's great, but some of you are like, I don't need digital marketing because I have a wait list, or we're busier than we can be. And then my question to you is, if you could hire more staff, would you be able to see more patients? And your answer will be like, yeah. Brandon, that's a stupid question. There are no stupid questions. But my point to you is, what if we crafted our digital marketing approach to attract our ideal unicorn employee? What if we all of a sudden started doing SEO, SMO, all different social media marketing, and our ideal target public was the employee and not the patient? See, we always get stuck that marketing is about promoting to the customer. In my reality, marketing is about growing your business, whatever that means. Maybe I'm marketing to the funding sources. Maybe I'm marketing to staff potential. Maybe I'm marketing to referral sources. Maybe I am marketing to the end customer. But when we draw up your marketing digital approach, I want you to figure out who, how, why, when, and what do we want to spend? What is in it for you? What is worth it for you? And so I find so much of the mistakes we make on a regular basis is that we're not thinking outside the box. We're just following directions. And I guess my challenge for you is, I want you to come up with one strategy to grow or solve the biggest barrier you have right now through marketing. And I want you to do it outside the box. What if you had a podcast, for example? What if your podcast was all about attracting the ideal clinician to join your team, the ideal physician to join your team, the ideal medical manager to join your team? What if you had something that you put out that educated and attracted people? That's one thing. What if you had a YouTube channel that catered to your patient census? I have a client that I worked with, grew his entire cash pay business, very successful, through Instagram. And everything was about TMJ, and was able to literally build a whole ecosystem of clientele in all different parts of the world because of that. So the beautiful thing about digital marketing is that it can help you get beyond your four walls. It can take you to a new horizon. you can blast off if you do it right. But guess what? The thing with marketing is you got to have the right data. You got to know where you want to go and grow, and you need to know all the ingredients, the characteristics, the attributes of that. In a weird way, digital marketing, in my opinion, is kind of similar to artificial intelligence. You're like, what? Where are you coming with this? So artificial intelligence is a form of machine learning. It's a buzzword, but you get my point. And in machine learning, it's all about taking data and having analytics put together to come up with conclusions of data where that data is present for you or functions are happening, etc. Well, with marketing, the more data that we have, the more that we can be successful. So let's just say, for the sake of this marketing activity or exercise, we say, Brandon, I want to hire 10 doctors in 2025. That is my goal, 10 doctors. Well, you can go on Indeed and you can go try and do that. And that is what I call acute hiring, okay? It's a form of advertisement. Not a bad thing, but it's acute. And you're only hitting a very specific public. The benefit is when you're in front of an advertising in front of someone that wants your product, they're more likely to buy faster. But sometimes the best client doesn't know they need what you have. So sometimes that passive marketing action is actually better. And sometimes it's an impulse. And so even when we look at, have you ever watched infomercials? Have you ever been up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to have it. So let me tell you, one of my favorite stores to go in is that like sold on TV infomercial store. And I love it because here's the deal. We all know that the products are bad, but the marketing gets us to buy it. And from a marketing standpoint, I am enamored. And so I go in and I look at all the China crap and all the stuff they're selling, all the, cheap this, that. There's good China stuff too, but you get my point. These things are not always the highest caliber quality, but they were able to market to get you to purchase. And I want you to think of that of like, what are you trying to achieve? What is that acquisition look like? And how do you craft that digital marketing approach that says, I relate with this. This connects with me. That call to action is really, really grabbing at me. Forget it. You know what? I'm going to do this. That's the thing. So imagine if you're trying to recruit a doctor. We got a 10 doctor goal. Now, one aspect is just to go to the small little river that has river fishes in it, and that's Indeed. Or the other is to say, you know what? We have this new technology that's going to dive into the deep depth of the ocean, and it's going to send out a radar of music that fish have never heard. And fish didn't even know that they wanted to hear this music, but through this new technology, we're able to all of a sudden get all these fish that we never knew we would meet. And that is the power of digital marketing. And so when we're looking at digital marketing, we've got search engine optimization. That is one form of digital marketing. And I kind of want you to understand there's pros and cons because sometimes we don't recognize what that search engine optimization is, and we're not quite sure if it's for us. And I want you to think of, we're going to talk about search engine optimization. We're going to talk about search marketing optimization. And I want you to recognize that I'm bringing strategies in place, but things are always evolving. So there are things that I may say that someone might tell you, Brandon, this has changed recently or whatever, and that's fine. My goal is to unlock your perspective around this, not to tell you, hey, I'm an SEO expert. I am trying to just give you what I call layman's description of these things. And I want you to think of when we're talking about digital marketing, what we're doing is we're taking our fishing pole and we've got the same fishing pole, but we're putting a different hook and bait and different weight on that fishing pole. And I'm not a fisherman. I wish I was, but I am not. Maybe one day you can teach me to fish. But my point in all of this is that There's a different strategy when you fish in a river, a lake, or an ocean. Deep sea fishing, off a dock fishing, the type of fish you're fishing, what kind of hook you need, what kind of bait you need. Is it live bait? Is it, all those things. And the same goes with marketing. So with search engine optimization, the way that I am going to describe it is we are taking our website and we are creating enough data on it through keywords and tags and blogs and all this stuff so that when the search engine sees it, it pulls up your website and it says, this has authority, this has relevance, and this is in alignment, sometimes like on a local side with the proximity. And when I say that, recognize search engine's always changing. So with search engine always changing, we always need to be evolving the strategy. But there's key things like you should have 500 words on every page of your website and all this stuff, and indexing and how we index it. And what we're doing is we're engineering data so that our website shows up based on how someone searches. So the reason why it's called search engine optimization, SEO, is that our website is directly connected in a way where it will get pulled up at the top when someone is searching for something that's relevant. So the pros of this: increased visibility, cost effective, credibility and trust. It's often a better user experience. You get long-term results. It can give you a competitive advantage, and there's also great potential for a local reach. The cons, just transparently, it's time consuming. It's time consuming because it's not a quick fix. It takes time for you to get everything in place for Google to actually register it and read it and duplicate it and validate it, etc. There are constant updates. There's no guaranteed results. You really, it's a process, and it's always changing. So I know back in the day, it all was about blogs. Blogs kept the content going and kept it really current and active and data changing. And that was the big thing. My understanding is it's changed more recently. And in recent years, the blog, although it's not that it hurts anything, but it may still help, but it's not the driving force. There was a point where if you didn't have a blog, you wouldn't have good SEO per marketing. The other thing is it's usually a bigger initial investment and a lesser ongoing. It's usually a pretty big overmake depending on where you're at. Now, I want to be crystal clear. I get about 25 emails a week with someone emailing me to all of my domains. We've scanned your website and we see flaws, and let us help you fix it and let us give you a report. All that is scams. Do not ever respond to a marketing company that is saying, I looked at your website and I have feedback for you. That is a blanketed, they don't know what they're doing. Often they're offshore. They're not the company that is going to usually take you to the promised land. I have yet to see that methodology work out for you. And to a point where I know a digital marketing company that gets them too. And I'm like, this is what they do. So just recognize that. So complexity. It is complex. It is an algorithm that you're playing with. There's a dependence on those algorithms. And there's a potential for negative SEO. There's a potential where you could actually hurt your website's credibility, or maybe that website gets taken down, or different things. So I definitely think it's important. And within search engine optimization, something that I think you need to think about is there's this organic search engine optimization that all of a sudden you're getting hits from all around the country and you're like, but I'm local. I don't need that. So sometimes where we want to put our attention is more on the local search marketing side of things. And the organic SEO is not as much. But then for me, I work in every state. I am all over the country, and I even can go international. So because of that, I want to do a lot of SEO. Local doesn't mean anything to me. I actually have less clients locally to me than I do farther away from me. And I like that because I want to go to the grocery store and not feel like every other person is a client. And I'm sure you feel the same way. So, well, you probably see your clients, but you know what I'm saying. So SEO is great if you're trying to get to like a greater capacity too, and just hitting those keywords right and getting that all dialed in. I think it's really important to understand also with SEO, search engine optimization. If someone's not searching for it, you're not going to show up. So you're only as good as the keywords that you dial in. So let me put it this way. If I am a doctor, but I classify myself as a physician, and I specifically do not use the word doctor, depending on how Google may have an interpretation that says this is synonymous with this, but the bottom line in what I want you to recognize is if you're using terminology that's not being recognized and searched, you have to understand that it might not be helping you. So you need to make sure that when you're doing search engine optimization, you want to make sure you're working with a professional. That professional is doing search relevancy, where they're saying not only what are keywords that are searched, how often are they searched, et cetera, but did you know that you can give them your top 5 competitors and often they can see how they're searching and what keywords are hitting for them, et cetera. So there's a lot of data we can get in this world. And I just want you to recognize that. So pros and cons of SMO, search marketing optimization. So now we're spending money. Search marketing optimization is typically that we are spending money for an ad to pop up. It is still search related, depending, but it is like, hey, I'm looking for a pediatrician, and all of a sudden an ad pops up. That ad is part of that search marketing optimization. And that's going to be immediate visibility. The other pros are targeted advertising. We can dial in to say, I want someone with kids with this, that, et cetera. And there's a lot of control that we have. There's measurable results in terms of like impressions, clicks, time on page, bounce rate, all those different things. It's very scalable. So SMO is something that you could take and grow. Enhanced reach, we can reach farther. We can reach more in depth. We can reach more specific. It also brings brand awareness. And that's something that I think is important, because what if every time someone searched pediatric cancer doctor, the Every Child Achieves Institute popped up? Even if you're not a right fit, that branding of Every Child Achieves Institute, what would that look like? What's the value of that? Now, some of the cons are cost. It can be very expensive. Short-term impact. So again, the second you stop those ads, you're done. Whereas with search engine optimization, it's like an evolving thing. And a lot of them are doing both. So I just want you to know, but there's also ad fatigue. There's a point where you're not as effective. I've found it harder with smaller budgets to be effective in SMO, but maybe I still have more to learn. And by small, I'm saying like those that are like, I just want to spend $500. There's not a lot you can do with $500 in SMO, in my opinion, but maybe someone is a mastermind. Complex management. It does take a lot, and you're A/B testing ads and you're doing all different things. The other thing you got to be aware of is click fraud. So with click fraud, you've got people that might purposely click your ad in order to drive up tests. And when you see that, you can make changes, but it's still going to happen. There's also a dependence on platforms like Google Ads. And so these are all things I want you to keep in mind. Now, with a search marketing ad, what if there were keywords that you came up with? And let's just say the keyword that I want is occupational therapist, unlimited PTO benefit. I'm throwing that out there. Even if you don't offer, how many people would you get in front of? That could be all of a sudden you have this video like, hey, we've got great PTO. Da, 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 da. And again, I'm not telling you to do that, but there is that opportunity for you to place these ads in front of people and use it as a recruiting tool, use it as a referral tool, use it as a client acquisition tool. Now, my personal belief is I typically have more budget in our industry for staff recruitment than I do for client acquisition. Interesting enough, because a staff member may serve hundreds of patients versus one patient. You get my point. So, local search marketing. So when we're talking local search marketing, this is where I tend to focus more on like the Google Map Pack. And I'm going to say that one more time, the Google Map Pack. I love the Google Map Pack. And with the Google Map Pack, why do I call it the Google Map Pack? See, I'm saying it a lot because I want you to get this. This is when you search and those Google GMB pages show up with the 5-star reviews. That is your Google Map Pack. That is directly correlated with your Google My Business page. So being able to target our Google My Business page with keywords, with GMB posts, Google My Business posts, with geotagging our locations to stretch the parameters. Because when Google is scanning for local, they're saying, what is the proximity of this person to this establishment? That's why we geotag. What is the relevance to the search terms? And how much of an authority are they within that sector? The 5-star reviews and the comments and all those things and backlinks and all this different stuff that can be helpful. Those are all ways that we optimize. So I find with doctors' offices, dental offices, therapy offices, everything, I tend to put the most budget when I have a minimal budget into the Google Map Pack and local search marketing, going after that 15-mile radius, going after targeted audience with increased visibility, mobile optimization, so it's popping on the phone, it's cost effective, it builds community presence, I get higher conversion rates, and I can gamify my positive reviews. Now, the hard part of it is I do have a limited reach. It's very competitive. It requires constant management. There's lots of algorithm changes. It does take time and money to invest. There is a dependency on reviews from my reality and also a verification process. Now, it's interesting because something that I learned, and you may be a marketing expert that knows more than me. That's okay. Again, I'm fine being wrong. But one of the things that I found was we actually don't want a 5.0. We want like a 4.8. So you're actually better off with 100 reviews with a 4.6 or 4.8 than 5-star reviews. And so I challenge you to search for that component between what I would say 4.6 and 4.8. I had it and then I lost it. I'm at 5.0, but that's okay. You don't have to write a bad review. I want good reviews only, but you get what I'm saying. There's a difference between a bad review and a constructive review. Here are the areas where this person thrived. And the reason why constructive reviews are helpful is because it gives authentic and transparent feedback versus just being a cheerleader. Now, we don't want a 4.0 necessarily. We want a 5, close to a 5. But search experts say you should be somewhere between a 4.6 and 4.8. Now, sometimes a bad review is actually a blessing. Not many, but some. So I recently got, a year ago, a bad review on our medical billing Google My Business. And our medical billing agency had a perfect score. And then I got this 1-star score. And I was like, what? And I got really angry because I care. And I'm like, I do so well. Who would write this? Blah, blah, blah. So here's where it gets funny. It was actually someone that saw my job ad on Indeed and did not like that I required people to fill out a whole questionnaire and everything. And basically they're like, this company asks you to do so much to qualify for a job and they only pay this much and it's a bogus waste of time. And so they write this review that basically was, first of all, the person never actually applied for a job. Second of all, I have a feeling that it was a fake person that was upset that they didn't get hired and they wrote a negative review. But what they didn't recognize is that within their review, what they were saying was, this is a bad company because they make it hard to work for them, meaning that they only want the best of the best and they're going to make you jump through hoops and it might not be worth your time. So I wrote back and I said, in my comment to their review, I said, I am so sorry that you had this experience. In the medical billing industry, our standard is so low by others, and the quality of medical biller is so poor that I'm trying to make you run a marathon because I only want the best of the best. And I'm sorry that you did not want to participate in my marathon, but disappointed that you couldn't see my side of it. And I'm wishing you much success with your employer search. Well, being very transparent, she kept it up for maybe 6 months. And I don't know if Google took it down or she took it down, but truly, when people commented and said, I wanted to see that bad review, but that actually looks better for you, Brandon. I'm like, we mean well. And this is where I come back to reviews. If people believe you have good intention, they shouldn't be writing 3, 2, 1-star reviews. Even when I have the worst experience in the world, I try not to ever do a 1-star. I'm like, that just shows anger. And so when we're looking at local search marketing and we're looking at reviews and we're looking at all these things, I try to showcase the intention. Hey, I know this hotel meant well. I felt that the hotel did not directly look the way it was on the website. I felt that they were short-staffed. And I felt like they really could utilize some additional research and discovery on how to elevate the brand in which they're trying to deliver. I gave this 4-star to recognize the intention was good, the customer service was good, but I hope that they'll listen to this review and learn from it. Because I guess my question is, what is the purpose when you write a review? Is it A, to acknowledge greatness and exchange with them? Yes, I believe it is. Truly, in my email, I have in my signature line, the greatest compliment you can give me is a 5-star review. Plain and simple. And I mean that. I would rather you write a 5-star review than send me a Starbucks gift card. That is how valuable your words mean. But I don't want just Brandon rocks. I want like, hey, how did I create positive change? Because that is where I get to the top of Maslow's hierarchy for me. That's where I transcend to a next level, is when I get to see how I shaped and impacted you and that the world gets to hear about it. So one is, yes, that acknowledgement, that exchange, etc. The second thing is sometimes you want to give advice and you want it to be public and you want to help people so they're not misled, so that they understand. And that's, to me, that is a 3 or 4-star review, not a 1 or 2, 3 or 4. Hey, this is what's well, this is what's not, etc. And then there's a 1 or 2-star. And a 1 or 2-star is, I want to punish the person. I want to punish them. I want to make them hurt. And maybe you have a right to do it. Oh, they did this, that. I get it. I've got some 1-star reviews I've written for people. But I want to be crystal clear. When you write a 1 to 2-star review, your intention is to hurt a company. When you write a 3 to 4, you're trying to collaborate and help them. And when you write a 5, you're trying to acknowledge them and give them truly the love that can make them feel empowered to keep doing what they're doing. So I think it's really important that when we look at all the different aspects of drawing up your digital marketing, you're looking at, how can I generate organic search relevancy with search engine optimization? What does that look like? How will it benefit me? What is my budget for that? With search marketing, I want you to say, do I have a defined budget that's big enough in which I want to get in front of this public, and I believe I have a call to action that will trigger them to move forward, and that I understand that all I need to do is to get in front of them and they're mine. And then the last is understanding that tapping into your Google My Business, getting those reviews, getting your geotags set up so that you're showing in a little bit bigger radius, getting your Google posts up on a consistent basis, getting other people to share your Google page, search your Google page, and all of that. will help you drive more local acquisition of clients. And I think it's a very effective methodology when you're drawing up your digital marketing approach. Did you know that businesses that invest in digital marketing see an average return on investment of 5 to 1, meaning they earn $5 for every $1 spent per HubSpot? The key is knowing how to do it. The key is hiring the right people. The key is building an ecosystem of experts that know how to get the job done with clear expectations, clear accountability, a clear budget, and a clear timeline. So, as KV Marketing shares, ignoring online marketing is like opening a business but not telling anyone. It's so important that you invest in drawing up your digital marketing approach. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I truly hope you enjoyed it. And if so, like us, subscribe, write a review, comment, share us, because we want to continue to change the way that healthcare is delivered. And together, we can thrive, not just survive. Thank you for tuning in to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. Exciting news. We're now available everywhere, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to YouTube or anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. So watch, listen, and reach out. If you love this episode, please drop a 5-star review. It truly means the world to me. Are you looking for more ways to elevate your practice? If so, now is your chance. Reach out, go to my website, or email me at brandon@wellnessworksmp.com. And remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.